Hello everybody. Right, I'm here. Sorry it's been a bit delayed, the live stream today. It was supposed to be 1 o'clock out UK time, but unfortunately because of situations that happened, I had to wait for I had to wait for things to turn up and stuff like that. So it actually got delayed a little bit. So apologies for that, but I'm here now, and today I'm going to be doing the reaction to the game against Leicester City, and also taking any questions that you might have along the way. So that's where good things are in that sense. Also, a little bit of housekeeping as well. If I've got ads now that I can get money from on the channel. However, I'm not going to be doing more than the ad you already see, because obviously the problem with that is if you if you put ads in the middle, my videos are very short, so I'm not going to be doing that. But there is now also, you should be able to see it if I can show it on here. You should be able to see an option to do a super chat or stuff down there, and a tip jar or whatever it's called. So if you feel inclined to do that, then that would be fantastic, obviously, but don't feel you have to, because this is just a free thing for anybody who wants to watch it, any Palace fans that are here. So yeah, so okay, so I'm going to start with talking about a bit about the game. And we had a more traditional setup in here for this particular thing. We had a 4-3-3 formation, which I think we tend to be better, I think anyway, with a more traditional lineup, a more traditional formation. You know, we've tried the inverted Christmas tree, which is what Leicester City were playing, but I think we tend to be a bit better with a more traditional um, formation. So we had a 4-3-3 this time round, and let me just see if the chat's working. So I can't see if it's working or not. I think it is. Yes, it is. So yeah, so we had a more traditional way of working, a more traditional formation, and we had Ward, Anderson, Gahey, and Mitchell at the back, Eze, Doucouré, and Schlupp in the middle, and Elise, Edouard, and Zaha up front. And I think it worked better, to be honest with you. I think it worked better like that than it did any other way. Um, Hello, Seek One. Thanks for joining me. Yeah, what's up, G? Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. I hope you're doing okay. Wagwan. Don't know what that means. But anyway, thank you anyway. So yeah, so there's more. It was a bit more of a different, a fantastic formation going up. What's up? Yeah, I'm doing fine. Thank you very much. Hope you guys are all okay too. And really, this was an amazing game for me. You know, I think that from the very beginning, we came out. We were a lot faster to the ball. We were a lot more energy, a lot more pressing. I think that we, that first half, we shot so many shots on goal. I know we didn't get all of them on goal, but we had so many attempts. And I think, yes, Leicester City are a team that are struggling at the moment, and they're not the best team in the world. But you still got to win the games you're playing, and I think that we've done that fantastic. So I hope that that's going to be something that we can continue. What does that say? It's Wagwan. That's how it's spelled. Ah, okay, Wagwan. Ah, okay. Um, Excellent. Thank you. So yeah, so it was, for me. It was it's better formation, and we came out playing really fantastically well. Obviously, still have the issue with scoring of goals. We're still not entirely there when it comes to scoring goals and getting in front of the box. But I think, personally speaking, we had more chances, and therefore more opportunities to score a goal. When you look at the previous games under Patrick Vieira, we were kind of sitting back a little bit around the 12-yard box and playing around there, and then trying to get balls in. Whereas in the game against Leicester City, we were getting the ball in front of the 12-yard box, pumping it wide, and then doing crosses and stuff like that from Elise and from Zaha and Mitchell. And I think that was working. I think that we were getting more balls into the box. And as Roy Hodgson said in his interview, to create more, um, is great. To create more chances, you have more chance of scoring goals, and I think that that's how it worked out in the end. So we were creating great stuff. I think our passing was really good. First off, I think we were a bit unlucky that we didn't score a goal. I think that if we had a better striker, or not necessarily a better striker, but we had strikers that were a bit more confident, I think we probably would have scored at least a couple of goals in that first half, and at least. But of course, we had the serious issue of Zaha towards the end of the first half, when when he went down with a pulled thigh muscle, and that looked really painful. And hopefully it's going to be something that's going to sort itself out really quickly. You know, you can never tell with these things, and hopefully it's something he's going to be able to come back before the end of the season. Because if not, then obviously it could be a bit of a sad goodbye if he does decide to leave the club after something like that. But we'll have to wait and see. It was a bad injury though. AU came on in his place, and I think actually played really well. And then that was the first half over then, and then second half, I think Leicester City were never going to be as bad in the first half as they were. So in the second half they came out and they were playing a lot better. But I think in general terms, I think we dealt with it rather well. I think, you know, we have a good defence, and we were working hard, we were defending hard, and yeah, Leicester had more of the ball, but I think we were closing them down better. I think our work rate was better, and we had an outlet as well. We had outlets in this game. You know, before we've had so many players come back to defend that when we get the ball back, it's hard to then get forward and break away because there's nobody in front of you to pass the ball to. But that wasn't happening so much in the first half. In the second half, and in the first half, we were getting the ball forward. So we were getting the ball forward, and we were working harder, and it was doing really well. Let's have a look at some of the chats here. Leicester have sacked Mr. Rogers. Have they? I haven't actually seen that. I've been out quite a lot today, so I haven't checked the whole TV news and stuff like that. But I'm not surprised because Leicester have been doing really badly, and I'm not surprised at all. And obviously, losing to a team that's around you in the bottom half, we'll have to wait and see. Great results, still buzzing, unreal performance. It was a good performance. It was a really good performance. Obviously, it's Leicester City, and you have to understand if we had played Chelsea or if we had played Arsenal and played like that, obviously it would have been a huge difference. But we played Leicester City. But you've got to win the games you're playing, and so I think Leicester City game showed that we've got the quality in the squad. We've just got to believe it, and we've just got to work hard. And I think going back to basics, as Roy Hodgson and Ray Lewington have done, has helped the team kind of get back on their feet again and work towards getting better performances. So that's really good. You want to learn how to speak Jamaican? Yeah, I'm not very good with languages. So as you can tell, sometimes I'm not really good with pronouncing names, which is something that's been an ongoing issue for me. But I am trying to learn by having to do those things. Trying to look at those different things and work at pronouncing these names properly. So it is a fault of mine. I do realise that. I'm trying to do it. Let's have a look. All because of PV. Yeah, I think Patrick Vieira put a good basis down. He put a good foundation down. But I think that we became a little bit too defensive certainly in the last half of this season so far, and also for last season we were so expansive and so forward looking, but this season we're sitting back a bit too much, unfortunately. Do you think Palace will look to Brendan Rodgers now he's free? Just Josh. Well, that is a good question. That is a very good question. They may well do. Brendan Rodgers, apart from this last season or so, did a pretty good job at Leicester City, and obviously he won the championship with them. So it's a possibility. Now that he's free, there is a chance they might look at him. Depends if he wants to come back into the game so quick or not, or whether he wants to take a break. But yeah, I think there's a few people that we're looking at the minute. But let me have your thoughts, by the way, guys. If you're the guys that are out there, who would you want to have as the new manager come next season? Who would be your ideal manager? For me, it's difficult to say. We've been looking at a couple which I've looked quite fancy them. So yeah, let me know who you think you wish to have. Let's have a look. Go to the Tasty Jerk Centre. Well, it does. Oh, that sounds good. If I ever go to Jamaica, which hopefully one day I will go to the Tasty Jerk Centre. Could have done with a draw between West Ham and Southampton. Yeah, we could have done. It's difficult. We're still 12th. I think we are still 12th at the moment. It's going to be hard, I think, for us to. It's going to be hard for us to get above Aston Villa because we're so many points behind. It depends how they're going. I have to go and see how Aston Villa keep doing. It's going to be hard to catch them, so I reckon we're probably going to end up staying 12th or there or thereabouts. But hopefully we can get some more results going in. All those having a go at Roy's appointment hang your heads in shame. An articulate gentleman who speaks 5 languages. Yes, he does. Yes, he does. He's a very well travelled guy, and he does. Yeah, he's a very intelligent person actually. Let's have a look. No, we don't want him. Oh well, yeah. I mean, I don't think he's a bad manager. I think he's just had some bad times at Leicester City, but I think overall, I don't think he's a bad manager. But I think there are probably others we could probably go for before that. Thoughts on Lukonga being benched? It was a surprise to me. I thought that Roy would put Lukonga in there. It's a difficult one. It may be maybe Roy has seen something that's not quite working for him there. Maybe he wanted a bit of experience in there, which is why he put Schlupp in there as well. But I think you can. I think he'll play a part this season. I don't think he's going to be sat on the bench forever. I think he will play. I think he will play him eventually. I mean, the trouble is obviously if you're playing a three with Eze, Doucouré, and Schlupp, then you've got to have. I think Schlupp's quite good down the wing, and Eze obviously is very good down the other wing. So I mean, if you had a four, you could probably put Lukonga in there. So, but it might be because you want Schlupp down that side. But we'll have to wait and see. I think he will play him eventually, though. I think he will, because he's a good player and he's got a good passing ability and he runs with the ball very well. So I think that there's the opportunity there that he will play at some point. Roy deserves a knighthood. Well, if he gets us out of this again, then yeah, I think he should probably get a knighthood. I know a lot of people had to go at Roy last season because of the way we played and stuff like that. But when you've heard Roy talking last few weeks, he said that there's so much more quality in this time in this team than he had before. And it's like I said before, I think he was just trying to get us to the end of the season. We had a team that was old. We had a team that was not as fast, not as agile. When you think now we've got Eze, we've got Elise, we've got Doucouré who can play really well and has got a good ball at his feet. We've got Zaha. We've got a really good back four now. I was a little bit worried about Ward against Leicester. I thought he was a little bit slow at times, but I think we probably need to bring in somebody new at right back come the summer. Hopefully we'll get a couple of players in. He was my only real concern, that he was a bit weak on that right hand side. But and I don't know if it was just me or whether you guys agree. Doucouré looked completely chilled this time. I mean, he's looked really wound up over the last couple of games I've seen him. But the game against Arsenal and this game, he's looked a lot more chilled. He's looked, he's looked more relaxed. He was playing a lot better. Whether it's because he's now got people around him to help him, I think he was smiling. I think he looked really happy. And and Eze was playing lovely little balls through, and he was crossing in. Elise was doing little flicks and stuff like that. It seemed to be a lot more like they were doing last season, a lot more trickery. And I think Roy's probably encouraged them to do it. He's probably said, look, if you're going to do something, just do it. Get the chances going. I think that the whole team looks a lot more relaxed against Leicester City for me. Okay, let's have a look. PV was not turning up for training sessions after the Brighton game. Drove himself home. He then never showed up Friday. Parish phoned him at home and sacked him. Really? That's from Adam Wade. Really? Is that if that's the case, then yeah, I think I did read somewhere that he was getting a bit depressed about the whole situation regarding results and stuff like that. So if that happened, then that could have been a very obvious reason why Parish decided to let him go if he's not turning up for training and he's not driving himself home and kind of distancing himself from the team. Then yeah, that could well be the reason why he was sacked. I mean, obviously, last season was a fantastic season, but obviously with the way things were going this season, I think something had to be done. I know a lot of people thought it was a bit too early, but I think if this is how we're going to play now under Roy Hodgson, then I think you can see where the change is, and you can see that this team has a lot of quality in them. What do you think is more important summer transfer, right back or striker? I would say probably a striker is more important. Obviously Mateta scored a great goal from from AU's pass. That was a great pass, by the way. And Mateta got on the end of it and got the goal. Edouard was trying. He had a couple of half chances, but didn't really get in the back of the net. I think a striker is going to be more important because the back line, we've got some good players at the back, and we've got some good players who can come in at the back. I know we've got a couple of old players. We've got Klein and Ward who are old now, but I think possibly for another season they could probably carry on. Striker wise, though, I think we need, unless our strikers suddenly get a run of form, I think we need someone who can bang the goals in regularly. I think if we can get regular goals, our defence is good enough for us to move forward. But I think striker wise, I think unless any of those players hit form, especially if Zaha leaves as well, then we're definitely going to need a striker, I think, personally speaking. But let me know what you think, just in case, because I think that, goals has been our problem. I think if we'd have had a prolific goal scorer, I think we would have been well above halfway by now. You can see the quality that we've got. I think we've got a good opportunity here to push forward. And if we'd have been scoring more goals in these games, I think we would have been well top half of the table by now. It's just, it's so close at the bottom because of this weird way the season is this year. A lot of teams at the bottom are in a similar point system. But I think, with a few more goals, I think we would have been well up in the top half of the table. Why are we not using our multi-million-pound academy? I think we've got some good players coming through. I think we've got some great players. I mean, Vaksaki, I think, scored again yesterday for Charlton. He's been absolutely fantastic. I think it's a case of they're worried that they're going to be putting him into the Premier League too soon. But I think, Plange has been playing really well. I can't remember who the other guy was now that I saw the other day. But Vaksaki's been playing well. I think these players are good, and I think they've obviously been put out on loan to get more experience. So I'm hoping that over maybe next couple of seasons we'll get them back, and then they can come into the first team, and that will give us a really fantastic team. I mean, if you get those players back and put them in the first team with a bit of experience behind them, I think we're going to be a real team to be reckoned with, because Luke Plange, as I said, Raksaki, Gordon, they're all really good players. I think that maybe with the new manager comes in, he might start to introduce a few more of those younger players again, which would be fantastic. Kofi Barmer, I think, has also been really good for the youth team and stuff like that. So we've got some good players coming through. What we need to do is give them the opportunity to come in, not then sell them, because that's just not, they're getting all the benefits and we're not getting anything in return. So we don't want to be selling them. We want to be nurturing them and then putting them in the first team so we can have the rewards from all of the effort that they put in. PV was the right man for the job. He developed these players, so that's why they're developed like they did. Yeah, I think you're right. I think he did deserve, a lot of credit for what he's done. He has brought in some very good players, and I don't think I've said this in any of the videos, but obviously there was a concern from my point of view that with PV going, maybe some of these players like Elise and Doucouré might decide, do we stay? Do we want to stay without Patrick Vieira, or do we wait and see what happens? So I think that's my concern as well. At the end of the season, some of these players who joined because Patrick Vieira was there, and I'm sure there are a couple of players who did, maybe they're thinking to themselves, do we want to stay without Patrick Vieira? I guess it depends who comes in. If we get a really good manager that they gel with, then, or a manager they think is a really good manager, then that might change. But at the moment, I think I'm a bit concerned that one or two players might decide to jump ship because Patrick Vieira isn't in the hot seat, but we'll have to wait and see about that. I think Chris Richards deserves a run out at right back, with Ward and Klein both getting old, though I do love Wardy still. Yeah, I mean, Ward's done a fantastic job for us over the years. He really has been a great player, and he's still got such experience. Even though he's starting to slow down, he reads the game so well, and he gets us out of a lot of good situations. I would love to see Chris Richards in there more. Yeah, I'm not sure if he's picked up an injury or not, or if he was still suffering from an injury he picked up while he was away in international duty. But yeah, I would love to see him in there. I think he might give him a stint at right back would be a good idea. I think he'd have a good time, and he played really well in the other game he was in before, so I think that he's definitely worth a shout. I hope that we get a manager that can use the academy. What about Bowie? Yeah, Bowie's been playing well as well. Yeah, he's been a good player as well. I think we've got so many, and yeah, I hope we have a manager that loves the youth team. You want a manager that's going to say, right, okay, we want to bring in a bit of experience, and we've got experience in the team. Let's bring in some youth players, because if you're going to bring those players in, then you're obviously getting some benefit because they've come through the youth system, they know the team, they've got a connection with the team, and also you're bringing a little bit of fearlessness because all these young players come forward, they just go for it because they've got no fear and they've got no problem with playing at this level. They've played with Crystal Palace their whole most of their careers, some of them. So yeah, I hope we get a manager who's happy to bring in youth players and bring them through. Tarek Mitchell is a great example of what you can do if you bring a youth player through. And I think that we've got the potential there. We've got so many amazing talented players at Palace right now that it'll be a shame if we lost any of them. We need to show them that they can get into the first team, because if we keep them keep them out on loan or keep them in the academy and don't put them in the first team, there's probably going to be a few who are going to be like, I'm not going to get my chance here. I'm going to have to go somewhere else. Like Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea produced so many good players. A lot of them don't get first team um, chances. They go elsewhere. So, and just like Conor Gallagher did for us last season. So, rather than lose these talented individuals, I think we need to try and encourage them to stay a bit longer and hopefully keep us going a little bit. So, yeah, I agree. I think we should use our academy a lot more. It would be good, certainly, and hopefully we can improve on our game against Leicester City, because you know part of me is a bit concerned that this is just a bounce back from having a new manager, and that we're not going to be pushing on. But another part of me says, look, we've got the players that can do this. We've got the players who, I think, as I said just now, if we have a good striker, we wouldn't be in this position. We would be maybe level with Aston Villa, or maybe above Aston Villa, if we had a decent goal scoring player. So I think that it's a little bit like that. I think if we have a good striker, if we get a good striker in the summer, but I think if we can create a lot of chances like we did against Leicester, then we've got more chance of scoring, which is exactly what Roy said. He said you have to give people a chance to make chances so that you can score the goals, and I think that's what we weren't quite doing very well the last few games under Vieira. We weren't creating enough chances to even get any goals. So I think that's the big problem we've had. We need a right back, backup, left back, left wing, two central midfielders, and maybe a striker. Um, yeah, I don't think we'll get any more central midfielders. Obviously, Lukonga's only on loan. We've got, I think we've got a few. Although I think a few of the ones that were on the bench yesterday are going to be out of contract soon. Obviously, AU and Schlupp, isn't it, has re-signed for another year. So I'm not sure we'll get any more midfielders, but we do need definitely a striker. Left back, right back, backup, yeah. Left back, left winger, two central midfielders. Yeah, I think we need some backups for those as well. We need some good players to come in who can create a bit of competition for places, because that's how you get the best out of your players. If you know that there's someone on the bench who can play as well as you can, and if you have a bad game, they can come in and take over. Yeah, definitely. But whether we'll have the money to beef up the squad like that, I don't know. I'm not expecting us to have a huge summer this year. I don't know why. I just don't think it's going to happen. Um, I think there was more chance of player leaving if PV had stayed. Look how poor our creative players have become, and look how creative and carefree they were yesterday. Same players. Yeah, I agree. I absolutely agree. And I think you're right. The players seemed to be, and I know that after Patrick Vieira went, they said that they were shocked that he'd gone. And they liked him. But I think there's a difference there, because I think that if you look at the players, they looked a bit scared or looked a bit frightened to go forward. And I'm wondering whether Roy's picked up on something like that, or maybe he's been told something by the players or whatever. I don't know. But he kept saying about he wants them to not be afraid. So I'm wondering whether, with the way Patrick Vieira had them set up, or the way he was talking about them, maybe they were too worried to go forward, or maybe there was something else that was causing an issue. Because, as I said before, Decore looked so wound up over the last couple of games that he played for Patrick Vieira. And and Elise and Eze was sat really deep. They didn't go forward too often and stuff like that. And I think it's difficult, isn't it? There was obviously something going on, and I'm not completely blaming Patrick Vieira for this. It might have just been that he was trying to get the players to play a way that they weren't used to, or they couldn't adapt to, or something like that. And I've said it before, when Palace have had to adapt to a new system, we've never really taken to it very well. We've always played a lot better when we've had the more traditional setup, 4-4-2 or 4-3-3. We've always tended to play better than like that than when we've had the new way of playing. I mean, it happened with De Boer, it happened with Alan Pardew at the second season, or later on in the seasons. So yeah, I think I'm not sure we're that good when it comes to new formations, and I don't know why that is, but we just tend to play better when we're in a more traditional setup. Um, do you think we need a new keeper, or do you rate Gaeta? Um, I don't think Gaeta's that bad. I think he's a good keeper. Um, I think that I don't think Jack Butland's coming back. I think, and I know he's only on loan, but I think that they will try and negotiate some kind of permanent deal for him if he's happy at Man United. Um, I think we should give Sam Johnson a chance, see how he gets on in goal. I think he's a good keeper, and I don't think Gaeta is going to be around forever. I think eventually he's going to leave. So I think we need to start looking for some kind of backup. But yeah, I don't think Gaeta's that bad. But it'd be nice to give Sam Johnson a try, for a couple of games and see how he gets on. Really. Um, Need a right back as this is Moramek. Need a right back as top priority. Ward is just a utility defender to bring on the last 10 minutes and Klein is championship level. Yeah, I mean, it's for me. Ward is getting too slow. Klein is okay, but he's, as like you said, he's not really as good as he used to be. And I think that's the problem with our right backs at the moment. I think um, we've got an issue there. And no, as I said before, Chris Richards could be a good opportunity to come in and take over in that right back position. It's a difficult thing for us because I think sometimes, certainly it's happened a little bit under Patrick Vieira, where they pass between our right back and our left back in down those channels, and I think if we had a right back, or I mean, Patrick Mitchell was quite quick, but if we had a faster right back, I think it would prevent a lot of that happening because they'd be able to chase back a lot quicker. But obviously, if you're trying to push forward and then you've got people coming in over the top, it's not very quick. He's not that quick enough to get back and help out. Right choice to change manager then. That's from Leslie Lewis Walker. I personally, I know a lot of people think it was too early. I think personally it probably was a good time because something wasn't working, something wasn't right. And I know, there's lots of talk about how we had such a hard run, and we did. We had some terrible games, and compared to then, this next set of games that are coming up are a lot easier because we've got teams around us, so they're not as good as some of the teams we were playing earlier on in the season. But I can understand in some ways why Parish did it. If it's as Adam said, because he wasn't turning up at training and stuff like that, then obviously he's got to step in and do something about that. So yeah, I think it probably was the right time to do it because with it being so close in the bottom half of the table, if you miss a beat, if you maybe don't get a win and the team around you gets a win, all of a sudden you're dropping. So with everything being so close, I think he wanted to try and secure our Premiership survival, which is what it's all about now. If and that's a shame because you want to give Patrick Vieira time to work with players and work with the team and work with the setup and get a team playing the way he wants them to play. But in the Premiership, you just don't have that time. You just don't have the time to do that. It's very hard. If you're in a Liverpool team or Manchester United, even there, the expectation is so high that even though there's no chance you're going to get relegated, there's lots of pressure on you if you don't win games, and that's the Premiership, isn't it? It's just the way it is, unfortunately. So yeah, unfortunately, that's the way it is. But it's it's not necessarily about now. It's about who we get next. It's about the manager that comes up next. That's going to be the big thing for me. Who comes in, because you want someone who's going to be not necessarily wanting to drastically change things, because I don't think that works. We've tried it before, tried to be a progressive team, and I just don't think it works. I think we want someone who's going to just do the basics really well and have the players in there to play well. And I think then we've got. Oh, sorry, I get the camera there. Then I think we're going to have more chance of climbing up the table. Trying to be too progressive and too different, I don't think it works necessarily, and I don't think we have the finances to bring in players who can achieve that kind of setup. You know, you're trying to get players to do it um, who maybe aren't used to that kind of setup. And so, you know, unless you're bringing in players who can do that, who've learnt that system already, but then of course you've got to spend money on players who can play in that system, and that's, you know, I don't think we've got the finances for that. So I think we need to do back to basics, build from there, but don't get too drastic because I think it just doesn't work for us. We just don't seem to do it. Um, with our next few games being easy on paper, do you think there's a chance for a top half finish, or is that too optimistic with the competitiveness of this league? Um, I don't think we're going to get top half finish. We've got some, you know, the teams, the games we've got coming up are going to be fairly easy in terms of, you know, on paper they're going to be teams that we should be winning. And if if we continue to play as we have been, if we continue to, you know, have this, you know, explosive start and, you know, push forward and, you know, run at teams and stuff like that and put crosses in and create chances, then I think, yeah, I think there's every chance that we can stay either 12th or even higher. Aston Villa are a few points ahead of us, so let me just have a look at the. Let me see if I can have a look at the league table quickly. See where we are. League table. Right, let's have a look. Yeah, see where we are 12th at the moment. Oh, we've got Chelsea above us on 38 points, and then Fulham are 39, Aston Villa are 41. So yeah, I mean, you know, if it's feasible we can get another 8 points, but of course, obviously, that's going to change above us as well. So I don't think we're going to be moving much past 12th. I think we're going to be probably staying where we are. But you know, I'm hopeful that if this continues into next season, that we will be. I think we'll be well above mid-table if we continue to play like this next season and build, get some players in to add to our quality that we've already got. Then, you know, I think it'll be good. It's going to be compared. It's going to be based on a couple of things. Firstly, what kind of manager we get. Secondly, if Zaha stays or goes. You know, we won the game without Zaha against Leicester, but you know, we're not going to be able to, you know, we're going to come up against better teams than Leicester. So it depends on the manager we get, depends on whether we lose Zaha or not, and it depends on how much money we have in the summer. Those three things will decide, I think, how well we do next season. So fingers crossed. Keep your fingers crossed that you can do that. So look, where was I? Where was I? Yeah, well, yeah. Sorry, seek fun. If he has given the time, he would have delivered, but he didn't. But he didn't. I still think that we should have let him go. Shouldn't have let him go because of the pull he has on the players. Yeah, I think that he obviously had a lot of good relationships with the players, but it's all about results, and that is the problem. It's all about results, and we had such a long run without a win that you know, a lot of chairmen now are very trigger happy. If you don't have a good run, they will pull the trigger and they will get rid of you. And unfortunately, that's the problem. You know, I would love to have seen what would happen if it had another season or so, but with the way that the results were going, it was just going to be one of those things, unfortunately. Maybe we can get Potter if he gets the sack at Chelsea. Perhaps, perhaps. Do you think Potter would come to Palace after being at Brighton? Can you imagine the furore if he came to Palace after being at Brighton before? Oh, I don't think we'd ever live it down. It'd be the same as it was back in the 1970s again, wouldn't it? Who do you have going down this season? Let's have a look. What we got? Well, Southampton I think are going to go. I think Southampton will go. Leicester City, well, now they've sacked Rodgers, might get a bit of a bounce back, so they might be able to get themselves out of it. But Southampton, I think for me, I think Everton, possibly Everton, and Leeds aren't playing very well. So for me, I would say it'd be Southampton, Everton, and Leeds. I think, but that's just my opinion. Just my opinion. Okay, let's have a look. Patrick had become unwell, and I wish him a speedy recovery, but he could not have stayed. Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. I mean, if he had an issue, either mentally or physically, that meant he couldn't stay, then of course, you know, I'm not saying he was a bad manager, because he wasn't. You know, I think that he tried really hard to create something there. But if it's affecting your health, then it really isn't something you should be you should be sticking to. And I think that if it is affecting you in that way, then of course you've got to step down and get yourself better first, and get everything right with yourself first. Otherwise, if it's getting too much for you, or if there's an outside reason why you can't concentrate on the on the game, and you can't concentrate on the club, then obviously you have to look after yourself first. That's the way it should be. You have to look after yourself first, and if that means you have to go and do that somewhere else, then I think that's absolutely right. Um, who's your top choice of striker if we were to splash the cash in the summer? Um, that is a tough one. I would like to have got. I mean, I don't think he'll be. I don't want to get him now, but Danny Ings would have been a good one to have got him, because he's that type of striker who can just score a goal out of nothing. I would love to have got him in the winter transfer, in the January transfer window. In terms of striker now, oh, I don't know. There's quite a few good ones out there. I'd want someone who was a bit of a poacher. I don't want someone who's necessarily. We've got plenty of players who can roll the ball around and get a goal. I want an Andy Johnson type of player, or Danny Ings type of player, or Jamie Vardy. Not going to get Jamie Vardy, but that kind of player who can get into the box and just get the ball in the back of the net any way he can. That kind of player I think we need to add that to the quality we've got in terms of dribbling and scoring great goals like Elisa does, curlers and stuff like that. We need someone who can then get in the box and get the little bits and pieces that drop for other players. That's the type of player I think we need up front. Any word yet on Zaha's injury? No. I know that Roy Hodgson said after the game that he has pulled a muscle. It is a muscle issue, but he says it depends on how things are going, whether it's going to be they haven't assessed it properly yet, so it could be a few days, it could be weeks, or even months. Hopefully it isn't months, because obviously that would mean he'd be out for the rest of the season. But Zaha does recover very quickly, and so I'm hoping that it will be just a matter of maybe a couple of weeks or so. It looked a really bad injury. It looked like he almost dragged his leg when he stretched for that ball, and maybe that's what caused it to overstretch and give him some damage. It depends, I guess, on how bad it is. If it's torn, it's going to be a few months probably, but if it's just a pull, he might be able to recover in a couple of weeks. But as soon as I hear anything, I will of course let you know. And if anyone out there knows any information that that perhaps other people don't know, I know there are lots of people out there who get inside information sometimes, do let me know. You can email me at stephenpdawes@gmail.com. If you get any information like that and you think, might be something that Stephen can talk about, stephenpdawes@gmail.com. Let me know if you get any inside information like that, because obviously I'm not going to tell anybody who it is, or I'm not going to tell anybody if it shouldn't be told, but sometimes these things can get connected together. So if you know of anyone who has any inside information like that, or get me in contact with anyone, that would be fantastic, because I'd like to hear these things. How much can we spend in the summer? New manager will need a guarantee, as we need a number of players to come in. Yeah, we do. Yeah, and that's going to be the biggest thing for any manager who comes in. It's going to be, how much money do I have? They're going to want to bring players in. You're going to have to replace Ward and Klein eventually. You're going to have to replace AU. You're going to have to replace a few of other players who are getting near 30. They're going to have to be replaced. And do you have the money to do it? I know you've got academy players. They're not all going to be able to come in at the same time. So yeah, a manager is going to be asking, how much money do we have? And I don't think there's going to be a lot. I think John Textor, has outstretched himself buying Leon. And he's going to be concentrating on Leon now. I don't think he's going to have a huge amount of money. I know that a couple of the other financiers, a couple of the other people of the board are going after one of these American NBL teams or something like that. So they're going to be spending their money there. So is there going to be any money coming into Crystal Palace? I'm not entirely sure. Personally, I think Edouard deserves to start every game. But do you think Mateta and Edouard should be rotated, or should we be sticking with one of them every game? I think we need to rotate them. I think Edouard and Mateta I think we should rotate them because I think I think Edouard has. I think he's near to scoring goals again. He had so many chances. A couple of them were blocked and stuff like that. Mateta, for me, if he gets the right delivery, if he gets the right ball, like that pass through from Ayew, he controlled it, took a shot. I mean, that wasn't the shot of someone who was lacking confidence. So I think if we give them the chances, which is something we've lacked a little bit lately, then we're going to have, I think, starting to see more goals. So I think we should rotate them depending on who we want for each particular team. Or it could be Edouard first half if we don't score, Mateta second half, and vice versa. Something like that to mix it up a bit, because that also makes it more difficult for the opposing defenders. Zaha is going to be fine. He was running all game, so yes, he's going to pick up a little knock. Yeah, I mean, we'll have to wait and see. Hopefully, it is going to be just a little knock, and he's going to be fine. May have to sell first. I think we're gonna. I think we're gonna sell. I think we're gonna sell. I think we're gonna have. We're gonna have to get rid of a few of the older players that are out of contract. I think we might have to sell perhaps to get a bit of money coming in. Who do we sell though? I mean, I don't really want to sell anybody. I know Gahey has got enough. Tottenham are after Gahey. I don't think he. I don't want him to go. Certainly, I don't want him to go. But if Tottenham put in a big offer, will Crystal Palace be tempted? I'm sure they probably would be tempted if it's a 60+ million deal goes down. I reckon they'll be tempted to let him go. But I don't think I don't want us to sell. I want us to try and invest. But if money is tight, then we might have to. Yeah. How many players? How much players do you think for the summer? I think we definitely need a right back. We definitely need a striker. Midfield, we're going to lose a couple of midfielders. I think they're out of contract, so we probably need another midfielder. And I think minimum, that's what we need. Minimum right back, midfielder, striker, minimum. I don't think we'll get any much more than that. I don't really think we're going to get a huge number of players in. Maybe on loan we'll get a couple, but I don't think we're going to get a huge number. But minimum, I think we need 3 for the summer. Mateta is the better forward. I think Mateta is better in terms of scoring goals. Edouard is he's okay, but again he hasn't been very prolific. I don't know what it is. I don't know whether it's the way that we scout these players or how we choose them, but we get a striker and they stop scoring. I don't know why that happens at Crystal Palace, but we just can't seem to keep goal scorers scoring at the moment. So maybe we need a complete change. Maybe we need to get rid of Mateta and Edouard and get new players in. Maybe we need to sell those two, get a couple of new strikers in. I think maybe that's the way forward. Agree. Have Richards on the right back. We need a striker ASAP. Yes, we do. Absolutely. Definitely we do. Maybe start both strikers and try 4-4-2 with Zaha out. So having Eze and Leicester on the other side and Doucouré and Lokonga centre midfield. Yeah, I would go with that. I would definitely go with that. I think if you haven't got Zaha, playing 3 up front is going to be hard. So yeah, I would go with a 4-4-2 and have Lokonga, Doucouré in the middle, Eze, Elise, and maybe Edouard and Mateta up front. I think that would be a good shout. I think our back line and our midfield would be solid if we had that kind of setup. Definitely. Any academy players ready to step up? I think a couple of them. I don't see why we can't give Raksaki. I can't give Raksaki a shout. I don't see why we can't do that. He's playing well at Charlton. I think bring him back in the summer, give him a run out in the first team. He's got a lot of confidence. He's playing really well. I know the Premiership is. I know he's quite a small lad, and the Premiership is quite a physical game. But I think give him a try, give him a shout. Absolutely. Eddie is not training enough. PV saw it and is trying to fix it. I think Edouard and Patrick Vieira. There was something Patrick Vieira didn't like about Edouard. I think maybe it was his commitment. Maybe he didn't train enough, like you said. Maybe he didn't work hard enough off the ball. Because I know that Patrick Vieira wanted everyone to work hard when they didn't have the ball as well. Maybe he wasn't doing that. So yeah, there was definitely a reason why Edouard wasn't being picked. But perhaps under a new manager, he can blossom. Perhaps with a different mindset, with a different way of training, perhaps he can get around it. If he's not going to try, if he's not going to be putting in 100%, then get rid of him. get a player in who is going to give 100%. You know, I don't think we should have players. We haven't got a big enough squad or big enough finances to just buy players. You know, we have to have players in there that want to be there and want to fight for the team. So if they're not going to do that, then ship them out and get new ones in. Yeah, absolutely. So what time is it now? 45 minutes. I'm going to call it on that now. 45 minutes. Thank you for joining me. I really hope that you've enjoyed the live stream today. Let me know if you want me to do more of these, and let me know if this time's okay, or if you need me to move it around anywhere. But thank you for everyone who's contributed. I really do appreciate that a huge amount. And looking forward to the next game, and I'll be doing some more videos with any news coming out, especially about Zaha's injury in the future. So look out for those as well. And as soon as I hear anything about his injury, I will of course keep you posted. So thank you very much, guys, and I'll see you next time. Oh, hang on, what? Big up, Steve. Thank you as well. Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. See you later.